Calaroga Shark Media.
Happy Monday, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. So as I put the show together, if you noticed, and there's like 2,000 episodes, you can check my work, I put the big name comedians up the front, and then as we get further along, it gets a little more esoteric. And I'm aware of the tone of the show lately, and I'm trying to be conscious of it. Believe me, I would like to sit here right now and do 2 minutes making fun of Jim Gaffigan hawking bourbon. I would like to make fun of Adam Sandler, but that's just not what the news is. And as I pull the cards out of the deck, I only have political options for you. That is where comedy is right now. Joe Rogan last week on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, shared some frustration about some of the president's recent moves. He was discussing some of the actions by ICE. Rogan said, "I didn't ever anticipate seeing that on TV on a regular basis, ripping parents out of their communities. I really thought they were just going to go after the criminals." Rogan's take was that voters had felt there was a crazy thing happening where the border was wide open. But does that mean you support everything that they're doing now, where they're kicking people out? No, they're storming into the Home Depot and arresting people. Rogan added, "The military's in the street. I think that's a dangerous precedent." You know, in some ways, beginning to lose Joe Rogan is comparable to LBJ losing Cronkite in a modern way when it comes to the media. Gianmarco Soresi told currentaffairs.org, "I think edgy comedy sometimes gets conflated with having hateful views. I think people have passed off hateful views as edgy comedy for a while, and in my mind, edgy comedy is just talking about things that make you uncomfortable. And then within that, I want to make a joke. I think that joke comes from my own point of view. If it comes from my point of view, which is generally a leftist one, the joke will reflect that without even being preachy. Someone will go, 'Oh, you did a trans joke.' And it's like, no, I didn't do a trans joke. I did either a joke about a specific trans person I know, or I did a joke about how I deal with, for example, something people have made a million jokes about, pronouns. For me, I would like my pronouns joke to be when I put he, him, it feels limiting to who I am sometimes, and I wish I could add a little asterisk to it, and then I lay out what that asterisk is. So it is a pronoun joke, but it's different from the hacky normal one because I'm talking about something very specific to my own feelings about me using it, as opposed to some grand statement." There's a new documentary, Anxiety Club. Marc Maron says his relationship with anxiety has changed throughout the years, but has never gone away. Maron said, "There's a lot of things I don't give a hoot about that I used to. There were big anxiety-producing things. I think with age and certainly with money, a lot of that stuff is just sort of null and void, and it's relief. Then you start getting into deeper issues like, why am I still not enjoying myself? Why am I still feeling less than or uncomfortable in certain situations? What is this about?" Also appearing in Anxiety Club are Tiffany Jenkins, Aparna Nancherla, Mark Normand, who's just back from the Riyadh Comedy Festival, Joe List, Eva Victor, and Baron Vaughn. The synopsis of Anxiety Club is with a mix of stand-up performances, sketch videos, exclusive interviews, and relatable everyday life experiences. They candidly share their personal struggles with anxiety, the world's most prevalent mental health condition. Chris Rock was talking to the New York Times about Ben Stiller. Chris Rock, who's 60 now. I do that, and then I remember how old I am now. Oh, boy, the numbers just get scary so quickly. Chris Rock, 60 years old. He's not like 19. Chris Rock, 60 years old, called Ben Stiller one of the greatest comic actors to ever live. I'm trying to get wherever he's at. It's so far ahead, I can't even see it. He also commended Ben Stiller and his wife for managing to reconcile after their separation. Chris Rock said, "A marriage getting back together is harder to do than a $600 million movie." Sebastian Maniscalco, he's back from the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Johnny Mac's a hypocrite, and we'll tell you a story about Sebastian that was in Southern Living, where Sebastian Maniscalco shared what marrying a Southerner taught him. Sebastian said, "The hospitality and how nice people are is extremely foreign to me just because I don't necessarily see that in Los Angeles. You know what I'm stunned about? In the South, there's a lack of urgency to do anything. You get a bagel in New York, they'll rip through 13 people, no problem. In the South, it's like, they're talking to you at the register and they're really getting to know you, but it takes an hour and 15 minutes to get a cream cheese bagel." See, it's funny because I grew up in New York. When I go to L.A., I feel like there's no urgency out there. In New York, if you're not going 100 miles an hour by 7:31 a.m., you've blown the day. In L.A., it's like, let's have a meeting. All right, you want to meet at the Coffee Bean at 11? You can send me letters from L.A. I like it out there. Believe me, I think you guys have it right. New York, we're crazy. Sebastian says of his wife, "She's turned me on to barbecue, which I never really used to eat prior to meeting Lana. So anytime I go to the South, whether it be Tennessee or Austin, I got to get good Southern barbecue. I definitely try to get a rib or a brisket or what have you." You can see how the Riyadh Comedy Festival has affected Sebastian's career doing fluff interviews like this one. Sebastian has toyed with the idea of going to culinary school, and told Southern Living. I just want to know the basics, the sauces, how to cut or how to chop, all that stuff. So I don't know, maybe a future in the culinary arts moving forward if this stand-up thing doesn't work out. And there are some comedians who, there's just always angst around them. There are some comedians who every time their name comes up, it's never, ever, ever like comedian X had a nice day and it was sunny out and there were flowers and the comedian petted a puppy and sunshine and rainbows. One of those comedians that every story is just angst is Kathy Griffin, who was recently escorted out of a Hollywood party hosted by Paris Hilton. So first of all, let's talk about relatable. Hollywood party hosted by Paris Hilton. I'm in my basement recording my podcast dressed like Adam Sandler. I don't know what it would take to get me to a Hollywood party hosted by Paris Hilton. I think if I got an invite later today, hey, do you want to come to Paris Hilton's house? I'd probably be like, no, right? Why would I go? Kathy tells a story. Kris Jenner, see, this is already insane. Kris Jenner had gone in a room behind some curtains, and I went on the other side of the curtains and started tapping on the glass, thinking it would be funny to act like it was a zombie. Then security physically removed me. Kathy talked to People magazine and how her recent life has affected her set in the past 8 years. She had a pill addiction, a suicide attempt, a lung cancer diagnosis, and a divorce from her husband. Kathy said, I talk about some heavy stuff, but I got so much feedback from my audiences saying, I'm glad you went there. I have had a bit of difficulty since the Trump photo, but one thing after another taught me, okay, you may not see the comedy when you're living in it, but at some point it will be funny. There's comedy in everything. Shout Studios has signed a pact for Conan O'Brien's 1,500 episode TBS run. Wish they had the NBC run, but okay. Conan did 1,500 TBS shows over 11 years. I have the controversial stance. I talked about this with Malkoff recently. I know everybody loves St. Conan. I get it. But nobody cares about that TBS run. I'm sorry. St. Conan is based on the NBC run. Nobody cares about the TBS. I'm sorry. Hope Shout Studios isn't mad at me. Jeff Peisch, SVP of Programming and New Business Development at Radial, said, Conan O'Brien is widely regarded as one of the most original and enduring figures in American comedy. His influence has shaped modern comedy, and his work continues to resonate with audiences across generations. We're excited to continue his extraordinary late-night legacy by allowing fans to watch his decade-long series on streaming platforms. I kind of want to push back on that. Is Conan one of the most original figures in American comedy, or is Conan walking in the steps paved by David Letterman? You can send me a letter. I like Conan. The lawyers can get in and go most original and say, yes, he's one of the most 7 million original people. And I'm not here to dump on Conan O'Brien. I just think Mr. Peisch may have overstated a little bit. The quote again, Conan O'Brien is widely regarded as one of the most original and enduring figures in American comedy. His influence has shaped modern comedy. Is that true? If we take Smigel out of the Conan years, is that true? Or has Smigel shaped modern comedy? And believe me, love Conan, didn't wake up today going, what do you bash Conan? It's not why I'm here. I'm just reacting in the moment to this quote. Anyway, if you want to watch the TBS run, you're going to be able to watch it. Conan O'Brien briefly hosted The Tonight Show, which was hosted for a few years by Johnny Carson. Johnny used to walk out from this iconic rainbow curtain. A section of said curtain is up for auction via Heritage Auctions. This particular curtain was on Carson's finale, May 22nd, 1992. The listing says the auction lot includes 2 pairs of curtains that made up the backdrop, the shimmery polyester rainbow curtains with bands of blue, orange, gold, lavender, and peach, as well as the set's blue and gray curtains with crosshatch diamond patterns with alternating panels of inset bejeweled adornments and horizontal silver stripes. The listing notes that the curtains show signs of production use, handling, and age, including stains, toning, thread, and other expected indications of stage use. So if you're hoping to hang these in your living room thinking, hey, these will be nice curtains, I don't think you understand why you would be buying these. There's a similar set of curtains at the National Comedy Center's Johnny the Immersive Experience exhibit in Jamestown, New York. Last check, the curtain bidding was at $5,500. The auction closes Friday, October 24th. This week would have been Johnny Carson's 100th birthday. Antenna TV and Doc Severinsen are joining forces to honor the king of late night. To mark Johnny Carson's 100th birthday on October 23rd, TV will present Johnny Carson's 100th birthday party, a week-long celebration airing tonight through the 25th at 11 East, 8 West. Each evening will include fresh reflections from Doc Severinsen. Now, Doc is up there at this point. How old is Doc? I'm going to just wildly guess. I have no idea. I'm going to guess as I Google this that he's 88. Ooh, Doc Severinsen is 98. Anyway, there'll be recollections from Doc, who said that Johnny was a master creator. The basis of his personality and his style was class. He was class personified. The week-long tribute will feature some memorable moments. Guests include Burt Reynolds, who is the voice of comedy stock market, or at least his AI is, Robin Williams, Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles, Dean Martin, and Olivia Newton-John. Now, normally a sentence, now I'll throw Robin out, but normally when you're going like Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles, Dean Martin, and you're not expecting like Olivia Newton-John in that sentence, are you? I'd expect something, I don't know, Sammy Davis Jr. maybe would have completed that sentence. All right, tonight's episode, Burt Reynolds, Richard Lewis from February 1982. Then Tuesday, Michael Landon, Carol Wayne, Bob Hope, Don Rickles, Freddie Prinze from 1974. Wednesday, Jackie Gleason and Jim Stafford from October 85. Thursday, Buddy Hackett, Burt Reynolds again, Don Rickles again, Dean Martin, Carol Wayne. That's from 1973, and that's a 90-minute episode. Friday, Robin Williams and Gene Marsh from 1981. Saturday, Don Rickles, Frank Sinatra, Olivia Newton-John, David Jansen from 1976, a 90-minute episode. And Jimmy Fallon, who currently hosts The Tonight Show, said Mike Tirico told him to stop talking during the 2024 Olympics coverage. Guest Jason Bateman on The Tonight Show said to Fallon, talk show hosts are the greatest guests ever because you know what you need. You need people to talk. Fallon said the opposite is I got to be a commentator at the Olympics last year in Paris. Mike Tirico got me on there and said I talked way too much and sounded like an idiot. Fallon explained he was trying to fill the airtime. I was like, Mike, they're in the swimming pool and they're swimming in the pool. And he's looking at me going, stop. He actually grabbed my hand at one point. He's like, stop talking. Chill out, dude. Said, sorry, Mike Tirico. He's a good dude. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, please tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you would like the program without commercial interruption, open up the Apple Podcasts app. There's a banner. It says uninterrupted listening. Click that. It'll walk you through it. Basically, $5 a month. You get this show and a bunch of others on the network, including 5 good news stories, which I also host. You can get a free trial for 30 days. And then from there, $5 a month. Actually, $4.99, but US dollars too. I don't know where you're listening. Have a great day.